Our next speaker is an expert in lead generation and digital marketing. He co-founded a lead company, scaled it to about 5,000 leads a week, eventually sold his shares so that he could focus 100% on teaching agents. Since then, he's helped agents grow from $50,000 a month in revenue to as much as $250,000 a month in revenue through his expertise in digital marketing. He's the founder of Insurance Advertising Masters, and he's definitely here to give you guys some lessons. Please give me a wonderful, warm welcome for Mr. Justin Thomas.
All right, perfect, the mic is working. Awesome. So I just want to thank Christian for putting this event on. I think a year ago today, Christian and I had never spoken in person. Like, we didn't know each other. We probably knew of each other, but you have become one of my really good friends in the industry, Christian, and really appreciate events like this because there are a lot of events that go on and happen, but events like this where you bring in people that are only talking about things that are bringing value to the people that bought tickets, it's a special thing. And so, I love that. I do have one thing to say. So I've been sitting in the back of the room, and this is my only second time speaking in front of a crowd. I do a lot of YouTube videos, and my face has probably been seen by 100,000 people, but that's in front of a camera. It's not in front of a crowd. And I was a little bit nervous, and I was just really sitting back there thinking, if you guys can take anything from this presentation today, it's really about your mindset. And Lester just had a heck of a presentation. There was a lot of wisdom in those words there. But when you really switch from, I think a lot of my nervousness came from, what can I get out of this presentation? Can I get content from this presentation? Can I get new clients from this presentation? And when I made it about myself, there was a lot of nervousness. And when I sat back there, I was like, that's stupid. I need to come up here and deliver the most value that I possibly can, regardless of expectations. And when that happened, the nervous just went away. So I'm gonna be talking about YouTube ads today. And one of the biggest obstacles you guys will probably face is putting yourself out there, being on video. You know, nervousness, and one thing to remember is if you don't do it, you're not gonna be able to express your message to the market. You're gonna help one less person by not doing it. So hopefully you guys take something from that. My presentation is on how to crush YouTube ads and leave your tech-resistant competitors in the dust. The really cool thing about what I'm teaching today is everything that you guys have probably heard so far at this conference does not matter if you do not have a way to express your message to the market. You could be the best salesperson. You could be the best at knowing the products. You could be the best at being able to help people with annuities, whatever it is. But if people don't know you're good at that, if you have no way to express that to the market, then you probably aren't actually that good at it because nobody will ever come to you and you won't be able to share that talent with anybody whatsoever. So being able to build something where you can express what you have, your differentiation, your authority to the market to where they know what you're good at, that's really cool. And you can also build something with what I'm gonna teach you today that will become a system and a machine where you can put $1 in and get $3, $4, $5 back. And Josh already asked my question, so he stole it, but if you had a machine where you could put $1 in and get $5 back, how many are you putting in? The answer should be as many as you possibly can. And that is the goal. With being able to run YouTube ads, Facebook ads, paid ads, it's completely scalable. You have full control over what you're doing to the point where if you want to scale up, it's as easy as just putting more money, feeding the machine more. So there are three things that you need to be able to crush it with YouTube ads. The first is you need a place to send traffic. The second is you need a high converting video YouTube ad. And then the third thing is you need to send the ad to the right people. You know, a lot of you may be asking, aren't running ads and paid traffic, isn't that just for big corporate companies? No, the answer is no, not anymore. And running ads is accessible to business owners of any size, individuals, solopreneurs, whatever it may be. And if you don't adapt, I will tell you right now that you will be left in the dust because there are already people in this room that have adapted, have mastered this. And if you resist it, it's gonna be your downfall. So Tony, thank you for the introduction already, so I'll just go over this really quickly. So my name is Justin Thomas. I'm founder and owner of a company called Insurance Advertising Masters. I also founded a lead company that I no longer own, but we scaled that up to 5,000 leads per week. In my own company, Insurance Advertising Masters, we spend $2,000 a day on just YouTube ads. And we wouldn't be spending that much money and putting that much effort or time into that if it wasn't worth the money or the time. So here's a little hint. If you are seeing somebody's face all over the internet, all over YouTube, they're following you all over, they're probably doing something that's working, otherwise they wouldn't continue to spend money on that. So if you see people like that, especially in the industry, study what they're doing. All right, so why do most people fail at YouTube ads? Well, the first thing is in insurance, most people are afraid to even try. Get that out of your head, put yourselves out there, it's gonna pay off. From there, the other reason is that when people think about ads, paid ads in general, but YouTube ads as well, they think that 80% of the results come from what's up there in the blue. They think that it's targeting, it's the buttons and the levers that get pressed inside the ad algorithms, the platforms, all of that stuff. Fact is that that is only responsible for 20% of the results. 80% of the results come from where you send the traffic, your messaging, your offer, how you're positioning yourself, and the creative, which really encompasses messaging. And so a lot of people will think that they can just outsource and they'll either buy leads or they'll outsource this part to another company. But the problem is that when you're buying leads, one, you're not expressing your message to the market whatsoever. You're just getting people that are interested in a product. They're not interested in you and what you can specifically do. And if you outsource this to an agency completely, to the point where you're outsourcing your messaging and everything, most of the time are not going to be able to encompass your voice, your message, and what's different about you, which is extremely important when it comes to business in general. All right, so today, though, we are not going to focus on the 80, we're going to focus on the 20%. And the reason why I'm doing that is because the 80% of what I just talked about, the messaging, understanding, your offer, positioning yourself, making yourselves different from everybody else, that's what gets you off the ground and gets your business launched. And the 20% is where you focus if you want to widen the gap between you and everybody else. And all of you here today have paid money to be here. You are all experienced agents, and a lot of what's been talked about already is going to be in that 80%. So I'm not going to focus on that because I know you're all capable of coming up with that yourself. But I'm going to focus on, once you get that in place, how we can widen the gap between you and any of your competitors that are resisting learning this types of stuff. So number one, we need to find a place to send the traffic. So what is traffic? Traffic is just the flow of humans on the internet. It's clicks. It's directing the people that are on the internet. So people that are watching YouTube, people that are going on blogs, whatever they're doing, that is traffic. And it doesn't have to be on the internet. It can also be, traffic can be in person as well too. But it's just a flow of human behavior. And we want to be able to direct the traffic, but in order to do that, it takes influence. You can't just expect people to do what you say because you tell them to do it. You have to influence them to be able to do it. When I talk about a place to send the traffic, once you have a YouTube ad, or once you capture somebody's attention, you have to do something with that attention. If you just capture somebody's attention and you waste it, then you're wasting your money. You have to have a place to direct it to. When you're running Facebook ads, 3 main places you could send it are a landing page, a funnel, or native lead forms. And really at this point, there's not native lead forms on YouTube, which is why this is extremely important for YouTube ads. There are native lead forms on Facebook, and that's probably what most of you have encountered when you hear Facebook leads or internet leads, or somebody's doing Facebook ads. People are like, Facebook ads suck. They're probably only talking about Facebook lead ads. And Facebook made a really easy way for people to generate leads. They create this form that doesn't leave the Facebook platform. So you don't have to build a landing page, you don't have to do anything like that. But because Facebook has literally every ounce of data on every single person, they probably know exactly where you are right now, what your brother's name, what your sister's name is. They have all the data. Because of that, when you do a Facebook lead form, your prospect, they click, and then their information is immediately auto-populated. So they're gonna click and it's gonna be an ad to like get a quote or something like that. But immediately once they click, it's gonna say first name, their first name's already gonna be in there. Justin's gonna be in there. Last name, Thomas is gonna be in there. Email, your email's already in there. Your phone number's already in there. It's already auto-populated. So then the next step from there is they click submit. That entire process takes 1 to 2 seconds, 5 seconds maybe. Because of that, there's no emotion. There's nothing that causes them to actually remember that happening. So when you call leads and they're like, I didn't fill that out, they actually may not remember doing it if it's from this, because it was such a small and short process. And so that's why when you get this way. It still can generate okay leads, you can make money off of it, but the native lead forms are gonna be the worst quality of these other things. A landing page is a page that you make yourself. It's gonna be typically pretty similar to the lead form. You're gonna have a headline, you're gonna have a form where it's gonna ask like first name, last name, phone number, email, favorite color, what have you. And then taking it to the next step, my favorite things, I talk about this all the time, would be funnels. And there's really 3 main funnels that I suggest. These are gonna be in order of quality of the people you're talking to. So the first one's gonna be a survey lead. It's gonna still generate you leads. It's that you have to outbound call and set appointments with. The next 2 that I'm gonna talk about are actually gonna generate you inbound appointments where people are booking on your calendar without you having to do any outbound work. But with the survey funnel, it takes the landing page and the lead form and it takes it and it puts it on steroids, because what it does is it asks people questions in order. So you have one page that says, what's your first name? They press submit or next, takes them to the next page. What you wanna do with this is you wanna ask like first name, last name, then you wanna start asking some qualifying questions. So what state are you in? What's your zip code? Any questions that are gonna help you deliver a better experience once you actually get them on the phone. And then the last thing that you wanna talk about with the survey funnel is phone number and email, because at that point they will have already gone through each questions, what are called micro commitments, and that's gonna get them more invested in actually putting their email and phone number into it, and it gets better conversions. And through that entire process, they have a little bit more invested because there's been more time to go through that process. So the survey lead is gonna get you the highest quality, or the survey funnel, the multi-step form is gonna get you the highest quality of typical type leads that you would still need to call out on. The next place, and these 2 are basically the same, so webinar and VSL. A VSL stands for video sales letter. It's a short 10 to 15 minute video, and a webinar is a longer form, like hour-long video, which will take, typically if you've ever done a seminar, online version of that would be a webinar. That's why they're a little bit longer. And the difference between a VSL and a webinar in terms of the content specifically, a VSL is more based on sales. You're really talking about emotion, the pain points they have, the problems you can solve, but you're not educating. Webinar takes that to the next step and you're fully educating, and because you're the one that educated the person on the topic, they know you're the authority and they're naturally gonna wanna work with you. With that, we turn that into a funnel. And for those of you, I've been talking about this, but if you don't know what a funnel is just a series of landing pages. And the reason that we use funnels is because when you think of a typical website, you have a menu up here, you have an about button, you have a blog, you might have a thing that sends them to a YouTube channel. They have so many places they can go. So when you're using paid traffic, we don't want to send them there because they're going to get distracted. We want to send them to a very specific place that's going to walk them through, and that's where a landing page is the first place, but a funnel does it in a sequence. So for the webinar and the VSL funnel, what it does is it takes them to an initial landing page where it's like, hey, register for the webinar or opt in to see, for your access to the VSL. Then from there, it's going to take them to the next page, which actually has the webinar or the VSL on it. They're going to watch that, they're going to get educated, or they're going to get interested because you're basically selling them on booking an appointment with you. From there, it's going to take them to the next page where it's going to be your calendar, where they can actually book with you. And that's where you get inbound booked appointments that you didn't have to call on because you have a video working for you 24/7, 365. And then from there, sometimes I will ask a few questions, qualifying questions, and then a thank you page. That's all I'm gonna spend time on today for a place to send traffic. Josh talked a lot about it. I have a ton of YouTube videos that go more into depth with that. It gets to be a little bit in the weeds going over that. So just so you guys know, when you're doing YouTube ads, you have to capture people's attention and you have to do something with the traffic. How to script a high converting video YouTube ad. So step number 1 is research. So this comes back to that 80% of where results come from. You have to understand your customer so well. So you have to understand the customer, the niche, the market, and you really have to understand everything about your avatar. And what an avatar is just a fancy word for having a representation of who your client is. And there's a company called Agora Financial that does $1.5 billion. They sell financial newsletters to people. And their avatar is a little doll named Grandpa Kurt, because that is who they're selling to over and over again. And they know, what is Grandpa Kurt thinking when he wakes up at 3 a.m. and can't sleep? What is Grandpa Kurt thinking when he goes to the country club and he's wondering about what people are gonna think about his status? They know every single thing that goes through his mind, and that is the level you guys need to take to the research of your customers when it comes to advertising because if you don't fully understand your customers, your words and your messaging and everything won't speak to them, and your competitors will out-advertise you. So research is extremely important. The next thing you can do, research on your customer is extremely important. And that's a lifelong thing, right? You guys every single day are meeting with people. Instead of just focusing on selling, which you should do, but at the same time, you should start to understand every little thing about your customers. What are their pain points? Why did they come to you? Why did they reach out in the first place? Just throughout your daily lives, doing your job, start taking notes over and over again to really fully understand your customer. And a lot of you are probably already doing that, and it will serve you well when you get into paid ads. Then you can also analyze current trends to see how you can utilize them in your ads. For example, the stock market's tanking right now. That stuff is good to use because it really grabs a lot of attention because people are always paying attention to what's going on right now. And then also try to figure out a way to relate what's happening in current events some way to Medicare. Step number 2, how to spy on your competitors. So learn how to grab video ID URLs. Can somebody click on that and play that? I've got a little tutorial video I shot for you guys.
Okay, here's a short video on how to get the video ad URL IDs when you see them come up in your feed.
Question, if you're an insurance agent, how do you start making $200,000 or $1 million or more per year? Well, it's definitely not by working.
Okay, so this was perfect. That was actually my ad. I did not plan that, but I love that. So how do you grab the video ID? So you're gonna go right here and you're gonna copy that. And then whenever you're in a YouTube browser already, it's got this URL right up here. And this is the current ID of the video that you're on. You wanna switch that for the ID that you just found. And then you're gonna press enter.
Question, if you're an insurance agent, how do you start making $200,000?
And it's gonna take you to the actual ad right there. And then from there, what you can do is you can save that so you can use it for your own ideas, or to take it a step farther, you can go find the channel that it's running from. And sometimes they may have theirs public. Sorry, I do not have mine public. I have all of mine unlisted, so you can't see them unless you do what I just showed you. But some people will, and then you'll find a gold mine because they weren't smart enough to make theirs unlisted, and then you can go see all of the ads they've ever created before. But there's that little hack for you. That way you guys can take the video, the ad that you see right there, you can find the URL, you can save it, come back to it, use it for inspiration for your own ads.
So I don't know if you guys noticed, but when you have YouTube ads, you can place them on your competitors' YouTube videos. You can place them pretty much anywhere you want, and I'll get into that here in a little bit. But that's how you spy on your competitors' ads. It's a lot harder with YouTube ads than it is with Facebook. With Facebook, for any of you guys that have ran Facebook, you could just go to Facebook ad library, just type in a keyword and start looking at ads. With YouTube, it's a lot harder. You have to do what I just showed you, and I can share this presentation so you guys can see this. I've got some links and stuff so you can click on. But so really, the key to finding good inspiration for ideas is to just go see what's working right now. The more views that you see on a video, the more likely that it's doing better. And then the next step in order to spy on your competitors is to get targeted by your competitors. And right now, in today's day and age, there's not a ton of insurance agents that are running YouTube ads, but that will grow, that will continue. These things are going to start being really good tips and tricks as people do more YouTube ads, do more paid ads. But first thing you want to do is make sure that you don't have an ad blocker on, because if you have an ad blocker on, you can't see ads and you can't get inspiration. Also, if you have ad blocker on, I can't target you guys with my ads, so make sure that it's turned off. The next thing is to increase your chances of getting targeted. You want to watch all their YouTube videos. You want to sign up for their email list. This is another good key for you guys. If you don't have an email list, one, it's extremely profitable, so I would start building it. But two, if you're thinking about what emails do I send on my email list, go find somebody that has an email list, preferably in the industry, see what emails they're sending out, and that'll give you inspiration. And then if you visit their website, then the Google remarketing tag or pixel will pixel you and it will send you their ads. Now, here's what I was saying is that there's not a ton of people in the insurance industry doing this right now. So what I suggest doing is going and find good internet marketers that are doing this, watch their videos, go to their website, get on their email list, and that's gonna give you a ton of inspiration. All you need to do is then translate it to insurance, which you guys know that pretty well, so it should be pretty easy.